Okay, so I'm looking at questions 1.1. We are dealing with question paper B1, and it's question 1.1. Now, this question, I'm going to give you a basic strategy for dealing with quadratic equations. So this is reading x into x plus 1, x into x plus 1 is equal to 6, right? So this is the strategy for when working with things that eventually will start looking like solving quadratic equations. Not strategy, it is strategy with an R. The strategy is one, don't work with fractions, okay? So I would say eliminate the fractions, right? Eliminate the fractions. And how do you do that? You use the LCD. Two, eliminate square roots, because we don't like roots, right? Then three, put it in standard form. And this is a strategy. Put it in standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's when you can solve. And then finally, 4 is factorize to solve. Or if factorization fails, then you use the quadratic formula. That's the summary or the strategy for dealing with quadratic equations. So let's see, that was given, and let's work this out now. Let's multiply that into that and that into that. We don't have any fractions, so we don't need to worry about 1. We don't have any square roots, so we don't have to square both sides anyway. And now we can immediately go into standard form. So let's see, if we go into standard form, what do we get? We're going to get x squared plus x is equal to 6, right? Now, that's not yet in standard form. In other words, we want a 0 on this side and we want something looking like a quadratic function on the other. And that is the only way we will get to solve our roots. So let's do this. X squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now we factorize. When we factorize, we are looking for factors of 6 that we can subtract, factors of 6 that we can subtract, factors of 6 that we can subtract to give us 1. And the factors of 6 are just really 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So if we subtract this, we get 1. If we subtract this, we get 5. So the factors we're going to work with is 3 and 2. So we'll put a 3 there, we'll put a 2 there, we'll put an x there, and we'll put an x there. Now, this last sign over here, this sign over here, is going to say, because it's negative, it means we must have different signs in the brackets. One of them will be positive, one of them will be negative. And how do we decide on that? Well, we look towards the middle term for guidance and we say, oh, middle term, you are positive. So the bigger number between 2 and 3 must get a positive sign. So I'm just going to use my red pen again and I'm going to say, well, that must be plus and that must be minus. Now we can solve. Now in order to solve, I'm just going to talk about one thing quickly. We can come up with a conclusion here, but in order to do so, we need something known as the zero product property. Okay, and this is why you find that a 0 is involved. The zero product property says if A multiplied by B is equal to 0, then either A equals 0 or B equals 0. Now what do we have over here? Well, let's say I've got a factor. I've got 5 times x is equal to 0. That means this is my A, that's my A, and that's my B. So either 5 is equal to 0, which it's clearly not because 5 is equal to 5. But now what else will give me 0 if I multiply by 5? Well, then x must equal 0. Right, that's a solution. Similarly, if I have x minus 4 into x plus 8 equals 0, then this thing at the bottom here is going to be my B. That's my A, and that there is my B. Okay, so either A is equal to 0, which means x minus 4 must equal 0, or x plus 8 is equal to 0. And if you solve this, you can go a step further now. Now you can solve for the value of x that would make the equation equal to 0. And that will be x is equal to positive 4 by adding 4 to both sides, or x is equal to negative 8. Okay, so how you learn mathematics is you need to do this actively, you need to work with me, you need to write down these things as I write, and then pause the video from time to time in order to fully understand what exactly is going on at each point. Because when you first listen to the video, it creates a slight neural pattern. When you start writing it down, you engrave the neural pattern and you start understanding the work a little bit better each time you do it. So coming back to the zero product property, in order to solve this, we're going to say, well, that must mean x is equal to 2 or x is equal to -3. And you can see where it clearly comes from. It comes from this over here. Okay, so there we go. There we go. We've got it. We had no fractions. We had no square roots. We've put it in standard form, and then we factorized it in order to solve.